Hello students, welcome to SRIRAM's IAS. Welcome to this 4 p.m. live. Today again is the turn of Indian polity. We are going to see 10 questions of Indian polity of the previous years and understand the trends of this paper, and it will surely help you to understand the depth of the examination better, from where UPSC is asking the question, what kind of questions UPSC is asking. So today's question would be concerning the topic of parliament. It's a very important topic. In 2024, around 5 questions were asked out of the total 15 or 16 questions which were asked in Indian polity. 5 were asked from the topic of parliament. It's a very important topic. Let's dive deep and see what were the questions which were asked in the previous year related to this topic. So question number 1, consider the following statements. Speaker of the Legislative Assembly shall vacate his/her office if he or she ceases to be the member of the assembly. It's a very straightforward statement. The person who sits on the post of chairman of the Lok Sabha or the House of the People is generally, and of course, is the member of the Legislative Assembly or the member of the Parliament. And if he resigns, he or she resigns, if they want to leave the the chairmanship of that particular house, they can resign, giving their resignation to the deputy speaker, or if they are removed by the majority of the house, if they does something which is not according to the constitutional values, then they can be removed, or else they remain in their place. And when the new Lok Sabha is elected or the new Legislative Assembly is elected, a new person is elected as the chairman of the house. So this is the constitutional provision as far as the chairman of the house is concerned. But you have to understand one thing, that immediately no chairman is removed. Okay, that is important. If a new Lok Sabha comes into play, a new Lok Sabha is elected, the previous chairman stays in the house till the pro tem speaker is elected. He leaves the house once the pro tem speaker is there on the chair. Now it is the duty of the pro tem speaker to conduct the election of a new chairman of the Lok Sabha. This is an important provision, you must understand. I think there is some sort of now it's working, no issues. So the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly shall vacate his/her office if he or she ceases to be the member of the assembly. Now how can one cease to be the member? They give their resignation to the deputy speaker, and the other thing, they are removed by the majority of the house by passing a motion. So this is a correct statement. The second statement, whenever the Legislative Assembly is dissolved, the speaker shall vacate his/her office immediately. Now not immediately, until the pro tem speaker comes, the chairman of the assembly who was previously there sits on the place. When the pro tem speaker comes, the chairman leaves and the pro tem speaker takes over, and then pro tem speaker is responsible for conducting the elections of the speaker. So only one statement is correct. Moving on to question number 2, consider the following statements. In the first Lok Sabha, the elections were conducted in 1952. So in the first Lok Sabha, the single largest party in the opposition was the Swatantra Party. No, this is not a correct statement. It was the Communist Party of India which got around 16 seats. This was the longest opposition party. It was not the Swatantra Party. In the Lok Sabha, a leader of the opposition was recognized for the first time in 1969. This is a correct statement. Although it got the statutory status in 1977, the leader of opposition got the statutory status in 1977, but for the first time it was recognized in 1969. Third statement. So statement number 2 is correct. Statement number 1 is not correct. Statement number 2 is correct. In the Lok Sabha, if the party does not have a minimum 75 members, now this is an important provision for you to understand. It is not 75 members. They are talking about leader of opposition. If minimum 75 members are not there, its leader cannot be recognized as the leader of opposition. So the provision is that there has to be 1/10 strength at least of the total membership of the house. For example, if a person, a leader of the opposition party, has to become a leader of opposition, then his party has to get at least 10% of the seats of the total membership of the assembly. So this is called as the Mavlankar rule of 10%. Recently there were issues related to it because the strength of the Lok Sabha is somewhere around 543 now, since two Anglo-Indian members who used to be nominated, that provision has been removed. So there are 543 members of the Lok Sabha, 10% of that is around 54 members, and in 2014 elections the chief opposition party Congress got only 44 seats. So there was no leader of opposition until the Supreme Court jumped in and said that it's a very important position, and that the member of the largest party, removing that 10% rule, the member of the largest party in opposition, the leader of that party will become the leader of opposition, because leader of opposition is there in important decision makings such as in appointing the chief election commissioner. The say of the leader of opposition is great. So there has to be a leader of opposition. This is very important for the morale of the opposition as well. So this statement 75, this is also not correct. So only statement number 2 is correct. Moving on to question number 3. With reference to the Parliament of India, consider the following statement. This is 2017 question. A private member's bill is a bill presented by a member of Parliament who is not elected but only nominated by the President of India. Now in Lok Sabha there are no members who were nominated, because there were 2 members who used to be nominated, the Anglo-Indian members. That provision has been removed recently. There are only elected members to the Lok Sabha. This is one thing. Second thing, the private member bill is brought by any member of the House who is not a minister. If the bill is introduced by a minister, it's a government bill. If a bill is introduced by any member who is not a minister, it's a private member's bill. So this is something which you should understand. A private member bill is a bill which is brought by a nominated member. This is a wrong statement. Recently, a private member bill has been passed in the Parliament of India for the first time in its history. No, there are around 14 to 16 bills, private member bills, which have been passed. So both the statements are wrong statements, neither of them are correct. The next question, the Parliament of India exercises control over the functions of Council of Ministers. So India is a parliamentary democracy. It's a responsible form of government. Council of Ministers is responsible to the House of the People. And how House of the People controls the Council of Minister, or holds the Council of Minister accountable to the Parliament? There are few tools, and some of them are these: adjournment motion, yes, of course it is, question hour, and supplementary questions. So adjournment motion censors the Council of Minister. It sort of draws the attention of the House towards a very important issue. Okay, so adjournment motion is a very important motion to hold the Council of Minister accountable and responsible towards the House of the People. Question hour, the first hour of the start of the Parliament in a day. Let's say if the Parliament starts today, the first hour would be question hour, where everybody can ask question from a minister and minister has to reply to those questions. Supplementary question, when there is very less time to frame a reply, and a supplementary question can be asked from a minister related to the ministry, related to the accountability of the work which a minister is doing in that ministry. All those things are very important tool in order to make the Council of Ministers responsible to the House of the People. And all of them are the tool used by the opposition against the government in the House. So all of them are correct. Moving on to the next one. Consider the following statement. In the election of Lok Sabha or the State Assembly, the winning candidate must get at least 50% of the vote polled. There is no rule of majority which you have to get. It is the first past the post system. What is the first past the post system? Whoever gets the maximum number of votes wins. For example, in your constituency, you go and vote, and there are 4 people or 5 people or 10 people who are fighting the election, the one who gets the maximum number of votes, does not matter whether it is 50% or not, but the person wins. So that is what is the first past the post system. For example, the person who has got the number 1 ranking or the maximum or majority of the vote gets only 35% of the vote. The second one gets 25% of the vote, and so on and so forth. Still, the person who got 35% but the maximum number of vote wins. There is no provision of 50% votes. You must understand this. First past the post system, that is the manner of election which is used in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies in India. This statement is incorrect. According to the provisions laid down in the Constitution of India, in Lok Sabha, the speaker's post goes to the majority party and deputy speaker's post goes to the opposition. So there is no provision which is laid down in the Constitution regarding this. You have to understand, there is no provision in the Constitution. It is just a convention that the speaker or the chairman of the Lok Sabha is usually elected from the ruling party and the deputy chairman comes from the opposition party. Deputy speaker comes from the opposition party. So it is not a provision laid down in the Constitution, that is just a convention. So this statement is also not correct. Neither of them are correct. Moving on to the 6th one. For election to the Lok Sabha, a nomination paper can be filed by. Now, who is eligible to file a nomination paper for election to the Lok Sabha? That simply means if you want to fight an election, what are the basic requirements for you to go and file the nomination paper for election? Anyone residing in India? No, that's not the case. Anyone who resides in India. What about the citizenship? The person has to be citizen of India. Okay. Resident of any constituency for which the election has to be contested. Now, this is also not a correct statement. If you are, let's say, living in one constituency and want to fight election from another constituency, that is also possible. It is not necessary that you have to reside in that constituency to fight an election from that constituency. Okay. A citizen of India whose name is in electoral roll of constituency. Now, this looks like a correct statement. It is covering 2 important conditions. One, the person has to be the citizen of India, and second, his name is there in the electoral roll. That simply means the person is above 18 years of age and he is not insolvent. Then only his name will be there in the electoral roll and hence he can file nomination. Also, his age has to be 25 years minimum. So statement number C is the correct statement. Statement number D, although correct, but it's half correct. Statement number C is more correct. So you have to arrive to an answer which is more better, more correct, okay, which graduates the all other statements. Moving on to the next question, which of the following statements are correct? So there are 2 statements given, we have to see which of them are correct. A bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its prorogation. Now, this is about Article 107 of the Constitution. If you see Article 107 of the Constitution, Raj Sabha, Lok Sabha and dissolution, what happens to the bill, the status of the bill, we will see. If a bill is pending, and this is about Article 107, if a bill is pending in Rajya Sabha, if a bill is pending in Rajya Sabha and the bill is also passed by the Lok Sabha. Now, what happens to this particular thing? The bill which is pending in Rajya Sabha and also that bill, the same bill is pending in Lok Sabha. This does not get dissolved. On the dissolution of the Lok Sabha, it does not get lapsed. It remains. Okay, that is important. What if the bill is first presented in Lok Sabha? So, the bill must be pending in Lok Sabha, okay, or the bill must be passed by the Lok Sabha. Then it goes to the Rajya Sabha. And if it is pending in Rajya Sabha, then this particular bill will be lapsed. Okay. So now we have to see which of these statements are correct. A bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its prorogation. You have to understand, prorogation has no effect on the lapse of the bill. So a bill pending in the Lok Sabha lapses on its prorogation. This is a very wrong statement. Prorogation has no effect on the lapse of the bill. Prorogation simply means stopping the work of the assembly for a temporary period of time. Okay. Second statement, a bill pending in Rajya Sabha which has not been passed by the Lok Sabha. So a bill which is pending in Rajya Sabha, see this condition. The bill which is pending in Rajya Sabha which has not been passed by the Lok Sabha shall not lapse on the dissolution of the House. So it is fulfilling this particular condition, and for that reason statement number 2 is a correct statement and B is the correct answer. So you have to read article 107 very closely. A bill which is pending in the Rajya Sabha but not passed by the Lok Sabha does not dissolve. A bill which is either passed by the Lok Sabha or pending in the Lok Sabha and also pending in the Rajya Sabha, this gets dissolved. So the basic idea here is, when a new Lok Sabha is going to come, the new Lok Sabha is going to consider the bill all over again. Okay, that is the important thing which you should remember. Once the House is dissolved, then it is not the say of the previous House which should be taken into consideration if the bill has not been assented by the President. It is the new House which is going to take over. Since Rajya Sabha is the permanent House, so if a bill is pending in Rajya Sabha or bill is passed by the Rajya Sabha, then it stays. Okay, so Rajya Sabha is not the problem here. The bigger problem is Lok Sabha, and what is the status of that particular bill in Lok Sabha. If it is not passed by Lok Sabha but pending in Rajya Sabha, the bill does not get dissolved. And if it is passed by the Lok Sabha or pending in Lok Sabha, and then it is pending also in Rajya Sabha, it gets dissolved. Why? Because on this particular bill, now the new Lok Sabha is going to take the lead, not the previous Lok Sabha. So I hope you are getting this logic. Moving on to the next question. Question number 8. The Parliament of India acquires the power to legislate on any item in the state list in the national interest if a resolution to that effect is passed by. So taking the when the Parliament acquires the power to legislate on any item of the state list. So under schedule number 7 there are 3 lists given. So that jurisdiction has been divided in the constitution itself. The state assembly can make law on the state list and on the concurrent list. Also the Parliament can make law on the union list and on the concurrent list. But since India's federalism is a bit tilted towards the union, it's a quasi-federal state where the say of the union is more. There are many provisions, and one of the provision is this one, where the Parliament can make laws on the state lists. So when can that thing happen? If you see, Lok Sabha by a simple majority of its total membership passes a resolution. No, this is not a correct statement. Lok Sabha by the majority of not less than 2/3 of its total membership passes the resolution. This is also not the case. See, Lok Sabha passes a resolution. Lok Sabha does not pass the resolution here. It is the Council of States, which is the Rajya Sabha, which passes the resolution. And in which manner that resolution has to be passed, we will see. Rajya Sabha by a simple majority. No. Rajya Sabha has to pass this resolution by a special majority, which is not less than 2/3 of its member present and voting. And then only the Parliament gets the power to legislate on the matters enumerated in state list. I hope you are getting this. Statement number D is the correct statement. The lead has to be taken by the Rajya Sabha. It is the Rajya Sabha who passes the resolution by special majority for Parliament to make law on the state list. So D is the correct answer here. Consider the following statement. Question number 9. The Rajya Sabha has no power either to reject or to amend a money bill. This is a correct statement. A Rajya Sabha does not hold power to reject a money bill or amend a money bill. It can only send its recommendation to the Lok Sabha, and if it does not send its recommendation to the Lok Sabha within 14 days, okay, it is deemed passed by the Rajya Sabha. That simply means it is considered that Rajya Sabha has already passed this particular resolution. So the Lok Sabha have overarching power when it comes to the financial aspects. A money bill is presented in Lok Sabha, changes can be made by Lok Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha has limited power when it comes to money bill or the aspects of finances. The Rajya Sabha cannot vote on the demand for grants. Yes, this is also a true statement. When it comes to financial matters, Rajya Sabha does not hold much power. Rajya Sabha cannot discuss the annual financial statement. Now, annual financial statement is the budget which is presented by the Honorable Finance Minister in the Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha can of course debate this and discuss it. There is no, roadblock in discussion or debating about the annual financial statement by Rajya Sabha. Okay, it is of course the voting part which comes into it. It cannot take lead or whatever, it cannot make amendments to the money bills. That is important thing, but it can of course discuss these things. Okay, so statement number 3 is not the correct statement. Rajya Sabha does not have the power to amend a money bill. Rajya Sabha does not have the power to vote for demand for grants, but it does have the power to discuss the annual financial statement. Hence, statement number 1 and 2 are correct and third one is not correct. Moving on to the last question. Regarding the money bill, which of the following statements are correct? A bill shall be deemed to be a money bill and they are asking not correct. Okay, you have to focus on these words, not correct. A bill shall be deemed to be a money bill if it contains only provisions related to imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax. If any of these matters are there regarding tax, then that particular bill is a money bill. A money bill has provisions for the custody of the Consolidated Fund of India or the Contingency Fund of India. So custody of these two funds, very important funds, any law which is made for the custody comes into the provisions of money bill. That is also an important statement and a true statement. A money bill is concerned with appropriation of monies out of the Contingency Fund of India. Now this is a wrong statement. Money bill is concerned with appropriation of money out of the Consolidated Fund of India, not the Contingency Fund of India. You have to pay attention here. It is only the Consolidated Fund of India, not the Contingency Fund of India. So C, this is the wrong statement. A money bill deals with the regulation of borrowing of money or giving of any guarantee by the government of India. This is also a correct statement. So we have to find one statement which is not a correct statement, and that not correct statement is C. So here we complete our 4 p.m. PYQ session series. Thank you very much for joining me in this Indian Polity PYQ regarding the questions of Indian Parliament. Now tomorrow some other faculty will be taking up another subject. Thank you very much and Jai Hind.